So I believe there is one, there are many things, but one element that is putting so much difficulties in that journey is called time. To come back to, okay, how do I know the good decision? I need to be in a mindset that is a mindset of, I call it abundance. That morning routine, everybody, every leader that I know,
I think of like Yogananda, um, Yeshua, things like that. But like modern day, I don't know. I don't really uh, have one that I look up to, which is kind of strange, I guess. Marc-Antoine, welcome to the podcast. It's really, really great to have you here. Thank you, my friend.
thank you, John. Very happy to be with you.
Yeah. So my first question is about CEOs and consciousness. I mean, one of my interests is infusing consciousness into business education. So tell us a little bit about your work with consciousness and CEOs and why it's important.
So maybe the why is it important is I think as CEOs we have to take decision and we take decision constantly. But how do I know that my decision is the right one?
Mm.
And probably that's where consciousness comes. So we need to define consciousness and probably go a little bit further how to know what is the good decision when we talk about good or bad, but mostly it's more what is the decision that is aligned to my purpose, my value system. And when I say my purpose, my value system, of course it's the company's one in that sense. So if I define consciousness quickly, just as an example, um, there are many definitions, but the one that I like is the knowing of an experience.
Mm.
It's not me who says so. I think it's Deepak Chopra, and for me it means what? It means if I am fully open and present, and all my five senses are fully uh, awake, if I can say so, then I can perceive the environment that I'm in fully. And so I can smell, see, feel, hear, whatever, and taste. And the more of it I have of those informations, then my decision process is nourished.
Mm.
Same with datas. So I can have Excel data, so many datas that fill my brain. Now the point is, how do I know what is the good or the needed data versus the unneeded data? Okay, luckily we have AI coming, and AI seems to do it for us. But is AI, in that sense, analyzing full of data, aligned to what we are trying to do? And for that, we need as CEOs to be very clear on why we do things, the purpose. So, first of all, there are a few steps. So, coming back to the decision, the more info I have, but also the capacity to know which info is the right one. And in there, there is another aspect that make us take good decision often. It's called intuition, wisdom.
Mm.
Where do we get that? Where is it?
Yeah.
Where do I
Yeah.
source it? So those questions were questions that always interested me. And of course, on the journey, I found answers, and I'm happy to
Mm.
share those answers.
Yeah. So there's a component of stopping to observe what's going on, kind of like you mentioned, before taking a decision. Um, Dive into that a little more deeply for me. So when you encourage somebody to stop and observe, a lot of times it's just hey, I'm looking around with my eyes, but it seems like it's probably deeper than that.
So, first of all, and again, to come back to, okay, how do I know the good decision? I need to be in a mindset that is a mindset of, I call it abundance. Some will call it growth mindset. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when I am in that mindset, it's often when I am relaxed. We use often the word present. I am
Mm.
present in what I'm
Right.
doing. Okay. So to do so, that comes framework that I wrote in the book that is in your over your head, Elevating
Mhm.
CEO Consciousness.
Mhm.
And that framework is starts with pause. I started saying stop, observe. But then I realized stop, it's like blocking something.
Ah.
Pause is more interesting. And pause means
Mhm.
I can have a 1 minute pause, which is just stopping what I'm doing and start to breathe. I can have a one night pause, we sleep over it, a decision, and then in the morning we have some aha that help us to take the decision.
Mhm.
So the first step of that framework is yes, pausing, and there are many ways. And the more I practice pause, like meditating or like whatever exercise that brings my consciousness, my presence focused, like all the martial arts, then I am ready to very quickly pause. And once I'm pausing, then it's like I am ready to perceive what is around me and what is in me, and where then comes the question, where do I source my knowledge? Where do I go and source my datas? And I will take a decision. But if my decision is sourced out of my fears, and that's what we
Mm.
do most of the time, then I don't take decision that will serve life, that will serve the purpose, that will serve the value system. I will take a decision that serves my fears,
Yeah.
often my emotional wounds or my limiting beliefs and all those things. So those decisions are based out of what I call the survival mindset.
Mhm.
Not very interesting, not
Mhm.
creative, not innovative at all. We just repeat what we know when we're in that state. So, yes, and that's what we see. We have certain behaviors today where the idea is to conquer, to take what the other has, not to innovate, not to
Mhm.
create, just to take. And with
Mhm.
that mindset, it's not very interesting. So I hope I'm not losing you. So starting to understand that there are those two mindsets, and depending on which mindset I will source my decision, my datas, either in my fears or into something of higher wisdom, higher consciousness. And that's what we talk about consciousness. Then, if I can find my answers in my vision, in my purpose, in my value system, and maybe in something we don't know exactly, but the things that we say, yes, I know it was right, but I don't know where it comes from. That's
Mhm.
the intuition. And that intuition comes often from my own journey, comes from the consciousness of that we are very limited and that we depend so much on, let's say, the universe. Some will call it God, some will call it the source, some will call whatever the name you want to do it. But if I can connect to things that are happening beyond me,
Mhm.
then I can take a decision that is aligned to what's happening currently in the present time in me. And in a time that we are now, which is a time of turmoil, of what we call viewcast, vulnerability, all that, but I just rephrase it because, okay, vulnerable, un, um, unpleasant, uncertain, complex, ambiguous.
Mhm.
And then we add three acronyms EST, which is extreme, speedy, and turbulent. This is new.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's going so quickly that, and we currently have beautiful examples with, let's say, our president in the States, who takes decision from one day to the other that are completely different, and they will impact the business, that will impact a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we need to be very agile how we navigate in those times. To be agile, we need to be in that growth mindset, in that abundant mindset. So the framework helping me to pause, observe, and decide, that framework, if I practice it, I enter quickly into the abundance mindset and get out of the fear of the survival mindset. Then come the question is, but what do I decide?
Mhm.
Am I still with you, or am I losing you? Because I have
You
a
know,
tendency
this
to
is great.
talk a lot.
I'm not interjecting because I want you to just keep going. Yeah. I'm making a few notes here and there, but no, this is right on.
So the moment, okay, I am present and I, okay, now take the power, I need to take the decision, comes the question, okay, but how do I know it's the right decision? And that's where the framework that I found very helpful start with: first, love yourself. When I say love yourself, it's a word that is often not understood because it's called to be affectionate. But love yourself connects to the heart, to the place that has a very interesting wisdom, a very interesting knowledge, that it's away from the brain that we normally use, but the brain is quite limited, okay,
Mm-hmm.
in that sense. So let me be clear. When I say love myself, it means, first of all, be very clear who we are. So who am I as an individual? It's an important question to raise, because the moment I have a clear answer about that, I am aware of who I am really. But also, who am I as a company? Who am I as a business unit? Whatever group you want to define, be very clear of who we are. Then, secondly, is where do I come from? We have a story, we have ancestors, we have a lot of things that we take and continue to have. And we need to be aware of the privilege or the skill sets or the knowledge that we give that might be different than others. Secondly, thirdly, we need to know where we go. That's the vision. Normally, we have a vision, it's clear. But if we go further as an individual or as a company, as an individual, it's very clear that we will die
Mm-hmm.
if we go on the journey to the end. Now, as a company, how do I make sure that we don't die and that we continue? So, a lot of questions come here to answers. Where do we go? Not only the wisdom, but also there might be an end. And how do I prevent this end? So, then come other questions. Once I am clear about who am I, where I go, and where do I come from, then come questions like, why am I doing this? Why am I in this company? Why am I in this family? Why am I in this community? Whatever group you are, you need to find the why. The moment you have the why, you have the purpose. You have the meaning of what you do. That touch your heart. That's where the heart comes in play. And lastly, we need to also find answers to three other questions, which is, how do I want to live? And the how is the value system. What values are important for me? Virtues, behaviors, we need to define them very precisely for me as an individual, for me and my family, for me and my company. So again, purpose and value system are well known currently in the business world. But it's not just to put a word saying, okay, we need to be honest, we need to be integer, we need to be all those words, beautiful words that are placed in a board and or on a wall in a boardroom.
Right.
Nobody connects to it. So it's much more interesting that behind those words, we define behaviors, behaviors that we want to see in our, and behaviors that we don't want to see in us. So not many, but some behaviors. Once we have that, then we can be very concrete in how to take a decision in line with purpose, values. And the two other last question is, what blocks me to be the most efficient, the best person, the most efficient as a company, what the best person as an individual. And that those are limiting beliefs. So what are the belief systems that we have in our company or in my family or in myself that limit me to be fully capable? And lastly, what are my emotional wounds? Stories, experience that I had or that ancestors had that I continue to carry and that blocks me to be fully free. And I need to heal those wounds. And often those wounds are our superpower. Once we identify the wounds and heal them, they become our superpower. They become what makes us unique, what makes us continue to fight whatever the situation is. And I don't like the word fight, rather to say we continue to serve whatever the situation around us is. So, to summarize very quickly, because we will continue to talk about that, I
Mm-hmm.
just talk about those two mindsets that we are facing. When the time is turbulent, when it's becoming very hectic, the tendency is to be in the survival mindset. And there we behave in a certain way. We will talk about that. But if we want to take proper decision that serves life and really out of consciousness, we need to be in the abundance mindset. And to move from survival to abundance, there is this framework: pause, observe, decide, to love yourself, and then come to respect the relationship. We will talk about it. And lastly, expect nothing in return, which is the most challenging in the business world, but the most
Mm-hmm.
interesting one. Okay, a lot of words, huh?
Yeah, I know a lot of thoughts too. So much there's so much power in the pause, right? Even if we just did that, a lot of things would probably start to fall into place. But I think a lot of the things you talk about seem to be counter to what we learn about business, right? I mean, it's zero sum, and you win at somebody else's loss, or something like that, right? And I think we're starting to feel differently now when we're realizing that cooperation yields better results than competition in some cases. Um, but I guess the thing I was like, CEOs have to perform, right? They've got to perform well. They've got KPIs, they've got metrics, they've got pressures. Startup founders need to perform. They need to return, value to investors. So I guess the difference between performing and leading consciously is still something people need to grasp onto.
So I believe there is one, there are many things, but one element that is putting so much difficulties in that journey is called time.
Hmm.
Because we set a deadline, because we have time frames, quarters, yearly results, KPIs, whatever you put on, where you place something in the future and you expect something, that create tension, pressure.
Hmm.
And the moment we have that, we enter in this survival mindset. And you mentioned that we need not competition. In the survival mindset, we compete because we just see what is there. We don't see the opportunities. We don't see the potential. We just see what is now here and we fight for it. So, no creation, no innovation, and no growth, just fighting. But by doing so, we are destroying the planet, we are destroying the family's world, we are destroying our own life because we suffer just because of that pressure put by something that says we decide to have these things in such time, and I need to be better than the others in the same time period, which means over the year I need to bring such performance to the shareholder in comparison to others. But real leaders, yes, they take it and then they do the best they can. And that's a big difference, which means whatever will be the result, we'll see. But on the journey, I do the best I can and I'm fully present in what I do. So
Hmm.
sometimes external events happens and they will help me to ride the wave. And there are other moments where waves will come against us.
Hmm.
Now the question is, I need to know how to navigate those waves. I need to become very agile. So if I put something in the future and I say that's what will be, I have the tendency then to go after the waves, against the waves, and fight and show that we are stronger. And that's where where we are not good, where we're not efficient. In fact, it's very simple. Okay, we want to achieve something. But who says we will achieve it? We decided, okay, it's a
Hmm.
game. So the moment I understand and come a little bit more relaxed about that, it's a game. So let's play the game the best we can. Then I become agile. Then I see the waves. And then I can adjust whatever needs to be adjusted in the moment. And that's the quality when I'm talking about capacity to take the right, proper decision that serves. It's a decision that is called in the flow. And the
Hmm.
flow concept is quite known in the business world.
Yeah.
So if we define that concept is we are working hard, we don't feel tired, we are very conscious that whatever we do is not for our own sake, it's for bigger purpose, it serves a bigger meaning. And what is most interesting is all the information that I need, they come to me.
Hmm.
The resources I need, they come to me. And the decision that I'm taking, they take it right away, no hesitation. That's what is called being in the flow, optimal experience. And we all want to be in that state. But as a leader, we should be in that state as much as we can. But to be in that state, we have to get out of the stress that is mentioned the moment we put time that create that pressure because of the time and space that we put somewhere, but is completely artificial. There is no existence to it, really. It's
Right.
just a game. And if we have that in our mind, then we play. I hope I'm not losing you again, huh?
No, no, it's really this is important information. The thing I keep coming back to is that even though yes, I get that these are constructs that we've put upon ourselves, they're not real. It's a game, yet it feels so real. The pressure feels so real to a CEO or an entrepreneur, right? I mean, these things, about competition and lack versus abundance and those types of things and pressures and deadlines, they're hard coded into the way we do business now. So I think I'm seeing more people tapping into this way of thinking, but it's hard when the rest of the business landscape is not built that way.
If I'm not wrong, but I need to check that because I heard when Google started, they didn't put budget. They had no KPIs and budget. They said,
Hmm.
dream,
Yeah.
run, go. And they created. Okay? So those were the moment of creation.
Hmm.
And then somebody comes. It's called a CFO.
Hmm.
And the CFO comes to start to say, hey, he looks in the past. Do you hear me well? I have
There's a little
some noise in the
background
back.
noise. Yeah.
Yeah, it will not last. Um, so the CFO, his role is to look in the past and try to minimize the risk.
Hmm.
So how do you minimize the risk? Is by doing what you know, not by inventing something. Now the CEO is the one that needs to create things.
Hmm.
That's why we are facing so much tensions between financial analysts or investors, but investors that are looking for returns, not looking for a journey, not looking for an experience, not looking to create something and to have fun, not looking to dream about big things. Those who dream about big changes, they understand that this limit of putting a time and a space is just a game. It helps us to focus.
Hmm.
Fine, let's focus. But if the results are not exactly there and we trust, we believe, because here comes trust, we believe that the journey is a proper journey.
Hmm.
Now, how do I believe it's a proper journey? How do I know it's the right journey? That's the point. You see? How do I continue to trust somebody that has an idea? You mentioned startup, but it's not performing yet.
Hmm.
How long do I gonna give him money? How long do I want to wait? How long do I going to support?
Right.
And this has to do with trust. So now, how do I trust somebody? I trust, first of all, somebody because he's like me. Okay, there are five levels of trust, huh, just to come back to that aspect. So the
Hmm.
first level is you're like me, so I can trust you. You
Hmm.
belong to my same tribe, same culture, same education, whatever,
Hmm.
same, I can trust you.
Yeah.
But that's very basic. Okay.
Hmm.
The second level is I trust you because you are the alpha guy. You dare do things that I don't dare, but you dare.
Hmm.
So I trust you. That's animal. We see this in the animal kingdom, and it's constantly here. And we have beautiful example currently of great alpha men that are guiding the world, but I'm not sure they're guiding well. And
Hmm.
to give you an example again with that is, if we talk about big leaders, we always have names. And I'm sure if I ask you, what are your leaders that you look at saying those are example how to lead something? Who do you think? Who do you think of?
I think of like Yogananda, um, Yeshua, things like that. But like modern day, I don't know. I don't really uh, have one that I look up to, which is kind of strange, I guess.
Yes, because we create a lot of mythology with people like Joshua, Jesus,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
Yogananda, or Buddha, or
Hmm.
Abraham, or whatever name
Hmm.
you want.
Hmm.
Okay, because they show us behaviors that are supposed to bring love, peace, freedom. Okay, things that we all want. But in the current world, I'm sure we have people like Mandela, Gandhi, Mother
Ah.
Teresa. They are often
Hmm.
seated, expressed as an example. Or you have also people like uh, Hitler, Mao, Stalin,
Hmm.
and strangely,
Hmm.
those we say they are not good leaders. But in fact, they were very, very powerful leaders because they could bring people to kill others. I mean,
Hmm.
I cannot do this. You know, it's easy to say bring results, financial results. Now, tell somebody to kill another guy.
Hmm.
Yeah, you must be a little bit strong. Okay, and they did massively. But after, once we look at the result, we say, yes, what Mandela, Gandhi, Mother Teresa did is of value, is of better kind of things. Why is it better? Because it served life.
Hmm.
But when we look at, Hitler, Mao, and so on, they destroyed life. That's the point. That's why we can say, okay, not so good. Good. So today, if you come closer to leaders, we have, let's say, political leaders, because this is current very, 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 very common. And what is happening in those days, we have people like Trump, Netanyahu, Putin, and many others. Xi Jinping, are they good leaders? Are they serving the life? And Trump is a very interesting example. Some says he's destroying things. Others says he will be the Nobel Prize winner, peace Nobel Prize winner. So, but who will know? We will not know yet. We will know in the future. But of course, if I look now, and that's coming back to how do I know it's the right one? I need to come back to those values and to the purpose. And if I look at the purpose of life, in my understanding, it's to evolve, to
Hmm.
expand. Secondly, expand through diversity, to exchange with different things. So we create and evolve. Thirdly, we want to evolve towards peace, serenity, freedom, love, which is compassion. Okay? And of course, kindness, these kind of behaviors. But
Hmm.
is this the business world? Are you paid for that as a business leaders?
Yeah. Not generally speaking, no.
And that's where I challenge. I think if we think that we are paid because we bring financial results, by destroying things,
Hmm.
by attacking competition, by gaining market share, using, let's say, in my sense, killing behaviors, okay, destroying relationship, taking advantage of this. For me, this will not last. It might last for a quarter, it might last for 5 quarters, 6 quarters, and then suddenly something comes out. And in this crazy world, then we say, oh, you did perfect well for a few months or few years. Now it's not going well. So please go out.
Hmm.
And then you get a golden parachute and you leave. And
Hmm.
another guy comes and say, I will do the best things. And we believe this crazy story. But by doing so, and that's what is very interesting, I'm not sure we are gaining that money that we want.
Hmm.
Because if you look at Warren Buffett, and I think as an example of investors, what does he say, as if I understand well? He says, I analyze a business to make sure that they are really bringing value and they have pure values and intent in what they do. And I don't invest for few quarters. I invest long term because I believe in what they do and I know they are doing this properly.
Hmm.
And I wait. Am I right or wrong?
No, I agree. It's a mindset shift. It's a societal shift that I feel is starting. But yeah, I do agree that if we can focus on the different things, the things that really matter, the things that we all want, it'll probably come together in a much better way. So let's bring this down to something tangible. So, we've been speaking high level, very theoretically. What are some daily practices or things that people can do every day to get them to a place where they can pause, observe, decide, love themselves, value relationships, and do things without an expectation of anything in return? How do you? What are some stops along the way, or what are some practices to get you there?
I think the first practice is the morning routine.
Mm.
What do you do when you start the day? Okay. And if we start by starting the day, it starts with making sure that you have a moment of silence, 5 minutes of silence. You can pray, you can meditate, you can contemplate, whatever you want. But start the journey by doing something in silence. The more you practice these qualities, the more if you enter in a meeting that is very tense because you have a board meeting or a meeting with clients or whatever, and you know that's going to be tense, just by doing some breathing exercise,
Mm.
you'll be present. You will be not lost in fear and what I call survival. You very quickly come back to I'm present. But for
Hmm.
that, we need to practice. So practicing silence, practicing soft movements like yoga, you mentioned Yogananda, so like yoga or like exercise, where we are very focused on how we breathe.
Hmm.
Tai Chi, Qigong, walking, swimming, all those things where we are very aware of cycling, how we breathe, running, and because we learn how to breathe. Breathe is our energy, and most of the time we don't know how to breathe. So learning, practicing deep breathing, abdominal breathing. That's also one thing. What else in the morning? Um, I think if we focus on our vision, what we dream, because the moment we come to the work, we are filled with things to do urgently.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
starting the morning by saying, okay, what are the one, two activities that are linked to my vision, to my purpose, to my value system? I can also put some values into that list and say, what is the value I want to live today? And starting the journey with one or two of those things, either something that is linked to my focus. Sorry, I have some noise in the back. That is
It's
linked
okay.
to my focus, to my purpose or vision, or my value system. When I place this in my morning, I say, okay, that takes 1 or 2 minutes before we start to go into action. So that morning routine, everybody, every leader that I know, and what I call conscious leader, they have a morning routine, a
Hmm.
moment with yourself where you do these kind of things. Of
Yeah.
course, the way you sleep then is very important. What you eat is always very important because we are touching the body. Okay, so sleeping, eating, moving, and of course, breathing are so key. And there, find what you like. Find something that is easy for you that you like, and focus your attention in the morning about this. This is taking care of yourself. This is loving
Hmm.
yourself. Starts in the morning. Okay. During the day, do the best you can. Don't
Hmm.
judge yourself. Do the best you can. Try to do. And the point is, when we make a decision, the difficulty is we don't oft always know if it's the right one or the wrong one, because taking the steps that I'm mentioning will take time. So we take a decision, but the moment I feel it's the wrong one, I can change it and it's okay. First thing. Second thing is, if I am present and perceive what is happening, I will take the decision that is aligned with what's happening currently. You see? And that's the right decision. What is the worst thing is not to take the decision. And we all know that. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then in the evening is journal.
Mm.
Take a moment
Love
to
that.
journal things that were what you did well, and especially express gratitude towards
Hmm.
yourself and towards the people that you had that show you did something or you received something. And by doing this act of gratitude, it increase of self-worth, it increase our happiness, and
Hmm.
with that we are much more confident to tackle challenges. And lastly, and this also is all those things are well known, be careful with the phone,
Mm. Yeah.
because this we should not use it before we go to bed, or a screen. And we know today it's so difficult because it's so easy to see screens and have them screens near our bed and continue to
Yeah.
put information in our head that create just a fog instead of finding that peace. So peoples who are, you know, it's praying, I think it's coming back, this kind of activities, moments where we are with ourselves, and especially if you can also pray in a community or do things with people that are in such interesting things, important things, will help a lot. Is
Hmm.
it okay? Because I know I have some noise,
Yeah, there's a little bit of background noise. Hopefully, we'll just
but
edit
that's
that
okay.
out. Yeah, it's
Okay.
periodic. Yeah, yeah. No, those are good, powerful techniques. So thanks for sharing those. Especially like the breath one. I mean, we breathe every day, but we often forget how to really breathe for optimal life, right? So that's really really helpful. So I know you mentioned you have a new book out. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that, what the motivation was, and what you hope people get from it?
Yes, the point is, you see, when I'm talking, I have the tendency to go in very details, so it's quite difficult to stay and find something you can grab easily. So the
Uh-huh.
book Elevating CEOs go into details of each of those steps.
Right.
There's the 6 steps. So I wrote another book which is very quick, can is read it in not in 1 hour you can read it, and I use quotes from wise people,
Mm.
and I share my own story, how I face challenges, how I learned to pause. But it's like I'm coming as a new CEO, fresh born kind of, and I have to take challenges, and I'm overwhelmed. I'm running, as you mentioned. I need to I need to have results, I need to perform, and I'm stressed and so on. And then I'm faced with wise people, Buddha, Jesus, Confucius,
Hmm.
Mother Teresa, people like this. And I use quotes that they gave us and quotes that are linked to A, start to pause, kind of.
Hmm.
So, and I did this with every steps, and it's very
Oh,
quickly.
good.
So
What's the
for me,
name of the book?
it's called the passage circle, and you can see it here. I will this. It's just new, but so you see the passage circle how it's looking,
Yeah.
and so I offer in this book for each step also quick, simple solution. One of the solution is learn how to breathe, and breathe so you can breathe in coherence. It's called quick coherence. It's
Hmm.
well known, called heart math.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
well known solution. So
I'm
as
I'm
an
a heart
example,
math facilitator, actually. I went through that
so
training.
you see,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So same I did, same like me. So you
Hmm.
see the powerful of just learning how to breathe in coherence and how much it helps
Hmm.
to open your brain, kind of.
Yeah.
So for each steps, I give this kind of small exercises, powerful one. So you can read it in 1 hour, and you can reread it, reread it, and
Hmm.
practice some of the things. That's the
Yeah.
idea of the book.
Oh, that's great. Is it available on Amazon? Is that where people would find it?
Not yet. They will not yet because I'm just in the publishing moment, but
Ah, okay.
it's fresh, fresh, fresh. For
Oh,
the time
great.
being, you find other books on Amazon.
Excellent. Well, if people are interested in learning more about you and the work you do, how could they find you?
How do they define me, or how do they find me?
How do they find you? Yeah.
Internet. Type my name, or you type Marc-Antoine, marcantoine.org, then you're on my website.
All right. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Marc Antoine. This was a really helpful conversation. And my goal and my hope is that yeah, business education starts to move or in this direction, accept it more. And I think business and society will be the better for it. So thank you so much.
John, thank you very much for your time. And I talk a lot. I didn't let you
No,
talk much. Sorry.
no, it makes my job a lot easier when when you have something to say. So that's great. Hey, so there were two things that I was thinking of we could record like just for real short clips. And I know this will challenge you because like you said you go into a lot of detail, but maybe think like a 40-second blurb about it. So I was thinking if you could go back into the morning routine a little bit, but keep it to like 40 seconds, like just really succinct, and then also go through the pause, observe, decide process. So if you could record two of those and imagine them as like Instagram reels or something like that. Does that sound good?
I'll try. Yeah.
All right. I'll just sit back and be quiet and let you. So, and I'll tee it up for you so it doesn't seem so weird. Um, yeah. So tell us about a daily practice that people can incorporate to help them move towards these planes that we're talking about.
So I think the easiest one is a morning routine where you start to take a moment for yourself. So find silence, meditate, contemplate, whatever, and learn how to breathe. Breathe so you can also practice movements like swimming, yoga, running, whatever. And do this every morning for minimum 5 minutes. I think this is very key if I have to say one thing. Is that
All
okay?
right. Yeah. No, that's great. Um, now maybe walk us through the
But
pause,
now,
decide, and then or pause, observe, then decide.
so the easiest way to move from the survival mindset to the abundance mindset or growth mindset is to pause. Pause is very simple. Is stop writing an email, is sleeping a night over a decision, is maybe meditating longer, but pause and then observe. Observe your physical sensation, observe your emotions, observe your thoughts, observe the surrounding, and then decide. Make a step. And how to decide the best is make sure you love yourself first. You are aligned with your purpose, you're aligned with your value system as a company or as an individual. And that's the step you're going to do. The second one, when you have to decide, make sure that you respect the relationship, not the other, the space between you and the other. And lastly, expect nothing in return. And I know for business, this is very strange, but that's where abundance comes because you will see all the opportunities and navigate in the opportunities.
Amazing. That was great.